and I'm about 45 minutes behind. So good morning. It's Friday. It's 6:30 in the morning. 8:30 in the morning. And we need to take care of a couple of things. So first of all, just to update those of you who are not aware, December 2019, Federal Cybersecurity Research and Development Strategic Plan came out. Those of you who are in the federal arena, good morning. You may want to look into it. I don't know if it's available online. I assume it is. I got that through my network. So go ahead and you may want to look into some of the recommendations. What I love is that human factor. So when you look at the strategies and problems and issues, human factor is the #1 item, right? And it was never like that. Never before, right? It was always encryption, crap, and some others. This dictates funding, by the way, for research. So just so you know. Anyway, that's an overarching thing. So if you're interested, go ahead and get access to it and read more. I have the task of trying to review guidelines for assignment number 1 and 2 within 20 minutes. So I will try to do that as fast as I can. Okay, bear with me. So put seatbelt on and enjoy the ride. I apologize for the bumpy ride. The idea is very simple. My assignments are actually each and every one of them in this course. Those of you taking courses with me, you know, are built to create this tool belt, the handy-manny tool belt that I was talking about, right? Those tools that you will need for your dissertation, those books that you have in your hands now. Okay, by the way, just to reiterate, please, those of you who came late, come to the front, pick up one of the dissertations that is left. There are 15 of them. They're mine. I need them back, please. The idea is this. In order for you to really understand a body of knowledge, you need to dive into the literature first, right? So, but you need to understand the differences between the quality of research. There is a lot of research going on, okay? A lot of it is crap. And so you need to know, we talked about it yesterday, the whole issue of gibberish submitted to conferences, okay? So the point is that, you know, we are at an area where, you know, groups that are, and individuals are publishing all over things that may not be as valid as they should, okay? So as you keep on reading, as you keep on looking at the, bear with me, there is an emergency phone that I need to forward my wife here to take care of. This is one of the, I apologize. One of the kids. So the idea is for you to dive into the literature. Assignment number 1 is actually built to create a list, a reference list in an area. The idea is for you to focus on an area that you can then later on build on. The whole idea of my assignments in my classes is that you build this synergy around a topic. Why? Because it takes a while to get to know the literature, get to know the authors, get to know the references, get to know the seminal paper from 1997 that, you know, everyone is citing. That if you're going to submit the paper to a journal and there is no citation for that paper, that's an immediate reject. That means you don't know the literature, right? That's the indicators that we as researchers, you know, figure out very quickly. You know your business, right? When you're in your business, you know very quickly who is, you know, talking BS and who really knows their crap, right? The same thing in research, right? That's why we have the peer review process. So part of it is to understand the theories, to understand the literature. So assignment number 1 is essentially throwing you into the water and saying, swim, swim. And those of you who will swim, that's good. Those of you who will sink, that's reality, right? The bottom line is, in a doctoral program, you need to demonstrate that you can swim, right? No, we do not have a life vest. We expect you to swim and compete with the rest. Okay, and there may be some storms on the way. Okay, so reality is, the idea is for you to first read this paper. I actually going to give you a couple of videos that I did, a whole series of videos of a workshop. Good morning, grab one of the dissertations. That you can watch on your own, you should watch on your own, okay, to learn more about this particular paper and the fundamentals behind the paper, okay? The idea is to go into the literature and look into one of the risk or related to risk management type of literature. Pull up a list of about 40 of those articles. List, I said. That doesn't mean you got to read all of them. The process as researchers, we don't read hundreds and hundreds of literature that are not relevant. We read hundreds and hundreds of literatures that are very relevant. So how do you know that? Well, title, abstract. That's why anywhere you're going to go, even those nasty databases who wants to make a lot of money out of our research, the two things they are going to give you is the title. Well, they will give you more, the authors, etc. So you know who the people are, right? But they are going to give you the abstract. The abstract is usually 250, 200, 200, sometimes 300 words. We'll give you a synopsis of the whole paper. There's no references in good quality abstracts. We don't put references because it's a standalone piece. That's where they publish. That they're willing to give for free. Why? It's like a movie thriller, right? It's a teaser. The idea is that here's what's in the paper. You want it? Now you gotta pay. At NSU, we have an amazing database access through the library. If you don't know about it, I think there were a couple of sessions to teach you about this. So make sure you know how to access it. Google Scholar is a good starting point. It's not the only place. As a matter of fact, it's very limited. There is a lot of knowledge in Elsevier, in IEEE, in ACM, in all those databases. I talk about it in the paper and in the video sessions. So make sure you follow up on those. If you don't swim, right? So you need to select an area. Get your hands into about 15 of those 40 that you read the title and the abstract that makes sense to you. Oh yeah, I would like to do a research on, risk management in the context of user risks to organizations. Insider threat. How about that? Let's use insider threat as our example. Okay. So I'm going to go and start searching. Of course, you start with keywords, right? Then you go and you do backwards and forward literature search that you will learn from the video and the paper. You do all that, you get your hands, you will see 40 papers, but download PDFs of 15 papers. I don't expect you to read all 15 papers. I want you to read 5 out of the 15. So out of the 15, at least get to know these papers, what they are in general, browse through it. Those 15 should be in your reference list. Okay? Make sure you understand the requirements in terms of the quality, because I have here some clear requirements in terms of style, amount of articles from proceedings versus journals. Okay? I told you about the conference proceedings issue. Pay attention to it. Journals are by default higher quality, okay? Especially ones that you find in the large database. Okay? So the idea is this: 40, it's a funnel, right? You start with 40, you go to 15 that you download. Out of the 15, and those 15 you need to have in your reference list. part of the assignment is to list those references in APA. So there are two parts to it. The reference itself, how it's noted in APA, but then the layout is in our dissertation guide, not APA. Why? APA, and it's actually written in the APA book for dissertation. So you go all the way to the end of your APA book, even the 7th edition, the new one, but the 6th edition was exactly the same. Dissertations, if you open them up in the back, you're going to see pages and pages and pages of references. As a matter of fact, dissertations are a gold mine of references. This should be a great starting point for you, by the way, of an interest. If you find a good dissertation, that's a gold mine of literature. Someone already did the literature review for you, right? So just go through the list. Of course, do forward search because that may have been published 5 years ago. And there is work since then, right? But at the end of the day, you want to look into that and you're going to see that we shrink it. So APA has a double space formatting for references. And in the APA book, it says that for dissertations, please consult your school or university for the layout. Why we do single space with one space separation in dissertation? Otherwise, it's going to be another 50 pages just because of that. Okay? So in most universities around the world, for dissertations, we shrink the APA from double space to single space with one space separation. Take a look at those dissertations and finish with me. You're going to see the layout. But the dissertation guide, it's all in my guidelines. Read. Okay, everything is in my guidelines. Just read. So that's one thing. So the text itself is double space. The references are in single space. And one space separation. So you're going to see I'm going to grill you. This assignment number 1 is about APA. Okay? About half of the assignment is about the layout. Why is that? Because APA is our TCP/IP communications protocol. That's how researchers communicate. You know, it's the TCP/IP of researchers. For most of the researchers, you're going to find out IEEE has the Chicago style. Some others use their own style because of copyright laws and money, right? At the end of the day, it's all money, right? But the bottom line is we use APA. Most of our fields are using APA. You need to learn APA. Why? Because if you give me crap, when I look at the document, the first thing that bucks my eyes is the layout and APA. Okay, I can't even concentrate on the content if your stuff is not well written in following the protocol. Why? That's the way it is. Try to transmit someone over TCP/IP with other protocol. It won't work, right? That's the way you're going to see it everywhere. You get to submit to a conference or a journal. The first thing that they will tell you, here's the template. Did you notice that? Why? No, they want to see how attentive are you to paying attention to details. If you're a researcher, one of the number 1 things that we're going to train you is to pay attention to details. Yes, Dr. Levy is a pain in the butt for the punctuations and APA and stuff like that. There is a reason for that. Okay, that's what makes you better researchers. That's what makes you later on, when you review other people's work, identify their problem and say, wait, this is crap. This is not a quality work. Okay, so you take 40 that you get your access into. 15, you put them on your reference list. That's all I need in APA. Out of the 15, choose 5 to put in this, what we call the literature summary table. Okay, and the columns are fixed based on what you see here. So you need to write, and by the way, the layout of the table and the layout of the heading is not per APA here on purpose. You need to swim. So go to APA and understand how to format a table. I'm telling you up front, the layout of the captions, the layout of the table is not 100% per APA. You need to follow APA. Okay? The article is, okay, that's the way it is. We note that in table, right? Like we note in parentheses. Description of the problem and the theory. Methodology is in one column, the HTML cut glued here, these two columns. Methodology. Sample. Okay? Instrument. We'll talk about it shortly when we talk about research. Main finding on or contributions. One thing you're going to find is that some of the research that you're going to read is not really research. It's commentary. It's perceptions of who wrote that. It's not evidence-based research, empirical study, or if I'm not saying it has to be quantitative. Qualitative research is perfectly fine. It's a type of research. We'll talk about it. But it's a research. There is data that was collected. There is data analysis. There are results. There are conclusions from those results. That's the process we have in research. Okay? So if you're going to start writing your table, and you start seeing that under methodology, all you're saying is commentary, theoretical, commentary, theoretical, those you should not include in your table. These needs to be research, not commentary, not theoretical, not some dreams that someone was dreaming and their friend is the editor-in-chief of communication of ACM, so he accepted their paper, not mine, and it was published and cited by 5,000 people, and it's all BS. It's all theoretical. Okay? So if you have methodology, it's good. If you have sample, you need that. You have an instrument, we'll talk about that, and the main conclusions. I want you to learn how to create this table. This will teach you to understand what is research, what is not research. Very simple. 2 buckets. So as you start reading the paper, you read the abstract, very quickly you can tell me, this is research. No, this is commentary and theoretical. Okay? If you can do that, I did my job right. Okay? So out of the 15, so we started with 40, went down to the 15 in your reference list, went down to 5 that I really want you to read, and they're all in the context of your interest. Okay? Should be. So if your interest is in HCI, let's say, then do this on HCI. Okay, risk related to HCI. If your interest is in knowledge management, then do knowledge management, risk related to knowledge management, or risk related to knowledge management systems, or risk related to the security of knowledge management systems, right? That's how we do it. So, and this is what you're going to write where it says topic here. Okay? Don't leave it as topic here. I had those. Okay? This is where you need to write your own topic. Good. So 40, 15, 5 in the table. Okay? Hopefully, out of the 5 in the table, you're gonna pick one that is really good research with a lot of citations, that for that you're gonna use for assignment number 2. And that will guide your assignment number 2 as well. Okay? So that's the idea, to form this as a basis for your assignment number 2, and then later on maybe to assignment number 3 when you write your own idea for a research, so you can build on that research. The whole idea of a research is that we stand on shoulders of giants. Some people stand on shoulders of midgets. That's not that great. Others don't stand on shoulders of anyone, and then it's a shaky ground, right? And then you bring it to a committee or reviewers in a journal, and they're like, this is crap. Okay, go back to the drawing board. So that's basically the idea of assignment number 1. There are very, very clear details of what you should and shouldn't have in your document written in the guidelines. So please read that carefully. Okay. The order of section is the theory summary table. So basically the summary table with the 5 papers. Then a summary, a theory summary I want you to write. So it's up here, 1,000 words. So the idea is to identify from this slew of papers some sort of a theory that you can write on. Okay, because when we do research, we found our work by theory. Okay, so the idea is to write 1,000 words. By the way, when a conference says 1,000 words, it's not 1,001. It's 1,000, period. It can be below, but it should be closer to it, but not above. As a matter of fact, I run the IEEE twice, in 2005 and 2015. We had over 1,400 submissions. I was the chair of the proceedings committee. We had 1,400 papers submitted. Out of them, immediately we rejected about a third because they exceeded the 8-page limit that we told them. So that's easy. You don't need to send them to reviewers, right? It's as simple as that. As a matter of fact, the IEEE system tells you, here is the chunk of papers that are above the 8 pages. Just click here to reject them. It's baked into the system that anyone that goes above the 8 pages, that's it. You don't read. Okay? So just be aware. So the idea is really to kind of write about the theory. Kind of a summary. Of course, everything needs to be cited with multiple sources. Hopefully all your 5, preferably the 15 that you're going to cite. But you don't have to. Usually when we write a paper, you have to make sure, we call it cross-referencing. You need to make sure that the papers in your reference list, the lists, okay, all those papers must appear in your citations, and all those who are cited in your text must appear in your reference list. And they should be 1-to-1, right? In this assignment, you don't have to, okay? Because I want you to get the hang of the list, writing an APA list. So the theory summary is a text, 1,000 words, can be 2-3 paragraphs. Basically 2 pages, by the way, just so you know. That's very short, okay, for a doctoral level assignment. So we have the theory summary, then we have the summary table. So that's this table with the 5. Then you have the references, right? Of course, in APA and following the dissertation guide. And then the last file, the last page of your document should be a certificate of authorship, which I provide you under modules. I provide specific title page, examples of title pages. By the way, of course, before there is the title page, right? No table of content is needed. Title page, then theory summary, then summary table, then references, and then certificate of authorship is provided to you in the modules area. Download that, just type your name, just clarify. All your files in this course are uploaded to the system into Canvas as Word only. Do not submit me PDF, it's going to be immediate 0. Okay? So Word only, because I give you feedback directly in your file. Okay? And you upload that to Canvas, to their area. It will check on Turnitin for you on the spot. So for plagiarism, if you see, I allow you to see that report immediately. So if you see there is a problem, go and fix it. Okay, hopefully you're not submitting at 11:58 p.m. on Sunday night, so you don't have time. But if you submit it, review the results, make sure that you don't have any problems with Turnitin on plagiarize some sentences. Any sentence that you take verbatim needs to be in quotation. Okay? So if any of my assignment says no quotes, that means that none should be marked by Turnitin. You need to rephrase it. That's another skill that you need to learn. as a researcher, how to rephrase things, how to synthesize literature. So you're not just review and rewrite the same thing that one single author said. Why? Because the idea is to combine ideas, to understand how streams of research agree or disagree. That's the point. Otherwise, all you're doing is you're giving me the perspective of one paper, okay, which is an annotated bibliography. That's not what research writing is. Okay, again, review the videos that I did, the 5 videos that I'm going to share with you throughout the semester. Make sure you do that. Okay, style, very important. Spend the time to read the guidelines on the style. What is acceptable? What is not acceptable? I spent the time to actually update this for you guys based on a couple of feedback that I used to send after the assignment. So I decided to throw in a couple of the things that I really hate in here, so I can tell you, I told you so. Okay, that's basically assignment number 1. Any questions?
Is there an example?
No, I don't share an example. I don't share an example, but you can go in and look at the requirements. I'll tell you that. As far as I recall, none of assignment 1 students ever submitted a perfect assignment. So I don't want to share with you something that is not good. Okay, that's the way it is. When you're thrown into cold water, it takes you a while to swim, but you float and you manage. So assignment number 2, you're like, okay, there is air here. Go ahead. When you do search, let's wait. You touched a key word that is very crucial here. What you do is search. You do not do research. Research is a whole process of searching literature, understanding body of knowledge, understanding problems, designing a study, collecting data, analyzing data, understanding the results, publishing the results. This is research. What you said is search. So be careful. Those of you who go to Google, hit a couple of words, hit the search button. It doesn't say research. It says search. So let's be clear, it's search. Go ahead. No, because this is crucial. You guys as practitioners say, yeah, I've spent a couple of days to do research on the topic, blah, blah, blah. No, you didn't do research. All you did is search.
Yeah. When you search and you have a folder article, so you drill down.
Right.
Is it okay if we probably have let me say, for example, 2000?
Okay, so the question, very good point. So the question is about older articles, right? So you're going to see some of these dissertations have a 1967 article or a book cited. Like, what? How is this relevant? Well, that may be relevant to where it was used. Maybe the theory, Kahneman theory, is from the 70s. Still applied here. There are some very, very clever, hypotheses that they put up way back in the 70s that only later, 20 years later, fMRI proved it. Okay? So does it mean we're not going to use that? Well, let me ask you something. Why the databases and the literature databases keep on scanning and adding all their literatures from the 1800s, from way back, right? Philosophy stuff. Why? There is a value to it. So some of the professors here will tell you anything that below 5 years, I don't want to see in the reference list. I understand. And they're entitled to their own philosophy. I came from another school. The school of thought from where I came from is that it depends on what you use the literature for. It's the context that makes the difference, right? So if you are talking about a theory and you explain, let's say some of the work here talks about skills, okay? There are a few, the skills theory came from activity theory. Activity theory is from the 60s, you know, some Russian researchers in the 60s actually emerged that, you know. So if you dig properly, you should go back to the sources. Those who publish good quality work do go to the origin. I'll tell you why very quickly. My whole dissertation is because I went back all the way to the 70s, and I actually late 70s, beginning of 80s. There was a whole measure of effectiveness of systems. Okay? And there were two measures of effectiveness of systems, two parts to the measure of effectiveness. Over the beginning of the 80s, everyone collected data and they found the two measures are highly correlated, which by the way, they were measuring it in a linear correlation, Pearson. It's a linear only. But there are other things in life that are non-linear, right? And so what happened is they dropped one of them. They said, why do we need to measure both if they're highly correlated? You know, I'll just measure one. So over the years, they measured only one, satisfaction in this case. How satisfied are you from system components? Okay, they dropped the ball. Because I can have system characteristics that I'm highly satisfied with, and I don't care about them. That's exactly what happened to me as a practitioner. I saw parts of my system, the users did not use it, and they told me in feedback, oh, we love it. Yeah, but how many used it? 5%? So why am I spending time on it? And money, right? So that's what led me to do my dissertation on this topic. Okay? It doesn't mean that you shouldn't dig back. It's actually a good thing. Very good point. Thank you. Other questions, quickly. Go ahead.
So for our papers, can we write it only in third person or
No, you don't. You write this from the literature. You come from the literature. Okay? So go and see some of the good quality articles. Again, this is not something that you say. When you go and review the videos that I set up for you, you're gonna find out more on that. Okay? But basically, you never say I or we or they. You cite per APA and you follow up on that. There are some in the examples that I gave you, right? So you need to be as precise as you can. Because if you got 5 references in a paragraph and you tell me they, I assume you refer to the one that you just cited last, but not necessarily. We've seen that. Okay? So basically, you got to be precise by saying that following APA. This is what APA says. APA says don't write in I, right? And when we do write in, you know, sometimes we do, but that's not in dissertations that I chair. Okay, so go ahead and read carefully the guidelines. Okay, other questions? Yes.
in case of any terminating issues, the system allows to resubmit?
That's right. And so the question is, Turnitin issues, let's say you get some sentences highlighted, you didn't put quotes in, and or let me see, did I allow you? Yeah, I didn't say in your own words here. So you can quote, okay, but don't excessively quote. I don't want to see a collage of quotes, right? That's also meaningless. If you forgot to put the quotes, it will highlight it, okay? At that point, you're gonna tweak it, re-upload, and I review the last file, only the last submission. I don't care about your earlier ones, okay? Of course, that's the whole idea for you to learn, right? Okay, let's move to assignment number 2. I want to do this on the same recorded session. So let's see if I don't think it's giving me any time, but I'll do that actually. You guys will need to scroll through the audio, the recording to know when we started. So assignment number 2. Assignment number 2 is basically to take one of the paper. It's actually a fun assignment. We're going to do this online. We used to do this on campus when we had the 2 clusters. Now we switch to one cluster that you guys are coming here. There are dates in the syllabus. Okay, let's clarify this. There are dates in the syllabus that I need you guys to be available. These are in the evenings. I'm telling you this already. So please be available, make plans. Okay? It's I think Wednesday and Thursday on February 19th, February 20th. Okay, 7 p.m. I don't know if some of you guys are in a different time zone, but you're 7 hours away. So that's going to be very late at night. Oh, 9. Wow. Okay, so 3 a.m. ish, something like that. So we'll talk. Okay, so let's talk offline on that. We'll find a solution. We're engineers. So the idea is for you guys to come and present live. Each of you will prepare a very short PowerPoint presentation to present the theory as if this is your own work. Okay. The idea is for you to select one paper and to come back and present it. Okay. The article you need to select and get approval from me. There is a process of approval in the discussion board. First come, first serve. It's on the guidelines, so read carefully the guidelines. You don't follow the guidelines, you're going to be in trouble. Okay. The idea is that this is a research paper. Okay. So a research paper, meaning that it used some theory. The theory paper can be something way in the past, but that paper that you're reviewing is a research paper. Okay? Pure research, collected data, analyzed data, etc. It used some theory. You can point to older papers from older, that's okay. Of course, throughout your presentation, you should cite and back it up. But at the end of the day, the idea is to create a PowerPoint, right? You need to share your paper as a PDF attachment to the post in the discussion board, and then give me the APA reference of the article in the discussion board. First come, first serve. Okay? And I'll occasionally log in and approve those papers or tell you, no, this is not it. That doesn't work because ABC. Okay? So go and read this, and then what we'll do is you're going to create a PowerPoint, about 7 to 10 slides, very short. Part of this class is to, and doctoral seminars in general, is to teach you to speak research. Okay? Because part of our research, and the definition of research, this Albert Einstein used to say that the definition of research doesn't end until you communicate your research to others who have no clue about your field. Why he said that? He said that in order for you to really be a good researcher, you need to project your findings to people who are not from your field, right? And try to avoid acronyms, by the way. You know the AI issue, right? There was a guy from agriculture talking to a computer scientist, and the computer scientist says AI, and then the other guy says, well, you know, in our field, in agriculture, AI is artificial insemination, you know? So I don't know what you were referring to, but so be careful with acronyms. I know it's part of our blood for some of us, that I understand, but be careful, establish all acronyms. That's why you have to always establish acronyms when you, any document you write, even as simple as IT. Yes, information technology in parentheses IT, the first time that it appears. This is the APA law. Okay? So someone who's not in your field, you got to understand that part of research, and I'll talk about it when I move to the presentation about research, is that when we write research, our research writing may appear for many, 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 many years, way after we're dead. That's part of the whole point. Okay? The idea is that 100 years from now, someone will read your research. They will still be able to understand exactly what you meant. If you have not written properly, that 100 years from now they can understand what you're saying, no one cite you. They're like, this is crappy. Let me move to another one. That's the idea of quality research. Okay? So you got to pay attention to it when you're writing your stuff. 7 to 10 slides. I give you the instructions on what to do in here, but basically it's kind of a summary of what to do. So in here I talk briefly what you need to do. You need to talk about the study, explain the study, but go outside the study as well. Part of what's going on. So if you are going to be taking a 2019 paper, you may not find any references that cited it, or 2018 even. But if you're going to take, let's say, a 3 to 5 year old paper, and you're going to cover it, and you're going to see that, wow, 200 articles cited this paper. You have two options. Either this paper is an amazing research, or this paper is the best example of how bad research can be done, and everyone is saying, here is the example of the bad research, right? They do that in literature. They grill other researchers all the time, okay? Especially statisticians and mathematicians, that's their job for the last, they can't invent more, right? So what do? They tell others how they screwed up in math and stat, right? Anyway, I'm out of time. Let's stop here with assignment number 2. But please, the idea is that you're going to do a short presentation online. We'll do this through GoToMeeting, okay? On the 2 dates in late February, okay? 19th and 20th. Put on your calendar. If you have issues with the date and time, please inform me as soon as possible. We can coordinate. The idea is for you to kind of present it to the class, okay? So I'll share with you the presentation mode. You will present, and then we will move to other presentations where we may ask some. Leave at 2-3 minutes for a Q&A as well. If you have some questions, I'll give you some comments on the fly as you end your presentation, or something that I cannot hold anymore, I'll give you throughout the presentation. But at the end of the day, I'll give you some feedback throughout. Okay? Any questions on assignment number 2? Okay, of course you can email me at any time that if you need. I'll be more than happy to answer any issues. Okay, I'm gonna close. Go ahead.
Regarding the references, for how long should we get our references? Like 5 years or 3 years?
Again, there is no limit. I never limit. Okay, I never limit students to years when it comes to references. But if all your references are from 1982 and you have nothing newer than then we have an issue. Okay? It's a balance, like everything else, right? Other questions? We're good? Okay, let's move on. I'll have to stop the recording and then get out.